Thank you very much, Sarah. So, it would be good to get some screen up here too. Great. So, the theme for this year is online to offline. And I would like to welcome every you that are here because you're offline. The people are on, or the websites are online. Welcome everybody. I will talk about disruption. Disruption is happening everywhere, in every single industry on the planet. Yes, even construction. 2011, there was a guy called Mark, one of the co-founders of Netscape. He actually wrote an article in Wall Street Journal. 2011, the same year BIMobject was founded. The article was called "Software Will Eat the World." That's one of my mantras today. Let's look what happened since 2011. Book selling. Today it's run by a software company. A software company called Amazon. And by the way, even books are software today. What happened with video rental? Do you actually remember that you went to a retail store to pick up a DVD or a VHS? It's all Netflix today, HBO. And actually what's interesting with the video is that actually the traditional media companies are now also challenged and disrupted. In the afternoon, we will have one of my idols in heavy metal here on the stage. Scorpions, Motorhead, AC/DC, that shaped my world. He will be here, live. He has gone through a whole set of changes on how music is produced, how music is created and distributed. And today, one of the biggest success in Sweden, Spotify, is running this world. Together with another small company called Apple, who are actually building an ecosystem connecting everything to their mobile phones. And actually, record labels, they're just doing content today. They have nothing to do with distribution. So I could go on, and I will spend the 40 minutes of my speech just telling you every single industry that's changed in the last 15 years. Actually, back in the 90s, I was a distributor of a rendering software called Pixar RenderMan. That happened to become a huge movie factory. And Disney had to buy them because they were the future. So even cartoons and movies, all software companies. So I like a little bit better word than disruption. Creative destruction. That's what we're doing. And we have to do this together. So let's change topic a little bit. BIMobject. Where are we? 10x. This is what the board told us in the beginning of the year. You need to take the next leap. You're 7 years into your business. You need to be 10 times bigger than the second largest competitor. Today, we're very close. And of course, that's our goal. We want to become the platform, the Facebook, the LinkedIn, the Spotify of our industry. And we are going to do anything we can to claim it. And 10x is just the beginning. That's just the first step in showing that we are the platform of this industry. So what numbers do we have to back it up? In mid-December this year, we will hit 1 million users. 1 million users. These are all the professional users of our industry. These are the early adopters. These are the drivers of change. This is the community you can get to by publishing and hosting your content at BIMobject. During the years, we downloaded, or actually people downloaded, more than 30 million components from our site. So you can just imagine that your products distributed by us are basically more or less in every project around the world. They're also locally duplicated, copied, replicated into every design on the planet. To your sales departments, which are starting to be digital because we are giving you digital leads, we generated 10 million leads over the time. And if you look at us as a product catalog, actually we had 250 million product visits on the catalog. So what does it all mean? The whole industry is embracing our platform. We are soon to become de facto standard of how to get content from building product manufacturers in our industry, connecting all the dots together. And actually, when you get to a point where you have 1 million professional users, we can start talking about the crowd. And we can start to talk about crowdsourcing, crowd working. You're going to see that there is a lot of new things coming up on the platform, new abilities for people, regardless where they live and work on the planet, they can take on assignments. And this is a new step we're taking, which you will see a lot of in the future to come. How can that happen? It will happen very easily because everything in our world is getting digital. When it's getting digital, it actually lives in its own world. It lives in cloud servers, it lives on the internet. It's really, really accessible. And when you make things accessible, by in this case, showcasing how you actually 3D scan buildings, because it's fine with BIM. We can get into constructability models from ArchiCAD, from Revit, from all the tools out there. But you know what? For renovation project, refurbishment, change, asset management, facility management, there is 1 billion buildings out there, which is not digital yet. This is happening now. And of course, today we're using technology like Leica, Matterport to do the scans, and we're using them more or less everywhere. And when that digital context gets available on the platform, it doesn't matter where you live, where you are, and you can still use it. So what we're working hard with in this research department is to connect all the dots, to get this technology useful on any kind of device, regardless if it's a mobile phone, iPad, computer, touchpad, or anything like that. And we're connecting these scans into actually the component library. The latest innovation we did is actually connecting it to IoT. So now you can even have Internet of Things devices connected into your digital assets if you're a facility manager. Another big thing, and yes, we have a lot of acronyms, as Sarah said. Another one is AR, augmented reality. What does it really mean for our business? It actually means that all of us have the connectivity in our pockets. Mine is switched off, by the way. Hope yours are too. This means that you can actually add things to the world you are in. So augmented reality really have the ability to help you get connected to the internet and actually use the technology straight off without any software. And Benny, later our CTO, will talk a lot about API. But this is the way you can connect things together today. That's how you automatically get computers to talk to computers, a mobile phone to talk to our servers and getting information from it. So with AR, you have seen a lot of technology coming out from Apple, from Google VR, Samsung, etc. And it's fine. I mean, you can build these things pretty easy. You get some developers, a couple of $1 million, and you can create your own AR application. But what about maintenance? What about update? What about consistency in how you do things? This is where we come into the picture, because we want to be that backbone. We want to be that content management system which running everything in the back. So it's much easier to deploy, update, and manage your tools, because any little change you make, we wanted to make it centrally. We wanted to make it on the server side, not on the client side. So let's have a look at one of our kind of early experiments with Google Tango. And this also shows you that even if we today will use very advanced equipment to scan your facilities, the future you will do this with your mobile phone. So as soon as you get 3D sensors or 2 cameras basically into your mobile phone, you can start to scan your environment. So basically in a couple of years, guys, we will all be 3D scanners. We will all scan. And if we have a common place to upload these scans and make them available for designers and interior decorators all over the world, we will have the ability to connect the dots together. And in this particular case, actually the mobile phone is of course connected through the API to the product catalog, and you can then place components in the real world. And then going from there to e-commerce is easy. That's not a big problem. Another acronym, AI, deep learning, machine learning. What will it mean for us? Philosophically, I'm afraid of it, really, for many other reasons. Can we be without it? Can BIMobject be without it? Can you be without it? No. If you don't utilize this knowledge and this technology, you will be sidelined. So artificial intelligence will be the big thing coming into BIMobject, all of the platforms. And I'm going to show you one thing today, which I think will blow you away, what AI will be able to do. So Ben later, he will present to you BIM Supply 2.0, and I always have to be better than Ben, so we have this internal fight. So I will show you what comes after BIM Supply 2.0. So in BIM Supply, you of course can upload a Revit model, any kind of IFC model, and you can basically use it in new build, new production. But what if you scanned the building? What can you use it for then? So what we have done here, what you soon will see, is a kind of an experimental, but it actually connects BIM Supply together with a BIMobject product catalog together with a scan. And automatically, it can actually read the tags, and it builds you an asset management database out of the scan. Today, part of this is manual. You have to tag it today with the product URL. But we already seen that with AI, if you tag one, it can find the other ones. It's pure image recognition and deep learning. And obviously, it knows where they are in the scan. So you can click on a component, you get to the microwave. Right now, it only knows that there is one microwave. But with AI, it will learn that there is 3. And the next time you scan, this is Studio 9, actually this is our office. When you scan our floor 8, it will automatically recognize the microwave. You don't need to do it again, it will learn. And obviously, we have images of everything. And image recognition is part of artificial intelligence. And these are the things it really can do well. So you will see a lot of development in this area where we will be able to generate automatically a complete product catalog, asset management, bill of material automatically from a 3D scan. This is one thing what AI will do for us. So when you look at the new BIM Supply having 3D spaces next to the bill of materials, Ben will show this more. The next step will be this. You will have a 3D scan of facilities next to a bill of material. And then you can do anything with that. So the crowd, the digital community, what we're working on. I mentioned before that there will be new services, new opportunities coming. This will happen. And the thing is, when things really move into the platform and getting accessible, you can start to do new things. And we always said that there will be a crossroad where gaming will hit into architecture, construction, and design. I think this year is actually now. This is a game engine. This is a 3D scanned apartment. Not all of it is actually scanned. The cupboard you're seeing is something which is placed there by the user. And the beauty with a game engine is that you can run it on the mobile phone, you can run it on your computer, on a web browser, you can run it in all the VR stuff you will see. There was a challenge, however, that these components are not one article is one SKU. It's not just finding one on a big product catalog. We use parametrics, we use configuration logic. And this is something I will move slowly into now, explaining you to what we are aiming for is that the more intelligence you give the components, the more they are looking like online, like they do offline, and the more constraints and knowledge you put into them, the better it will be. And we had a really hard thing to crack, that we want to use BIMscript as the logic and parametric engine where we can do very, very advanced components, actually doing them as advanced as in a configurator. But we wanted this to be read by the game engines, just like Revit and SketchUp and ArchiCAD does it. We need to get the game engines into the same logic and same understanding. And I'm happy to tell you we cracked the code. Now we can do that. So this, what you see, is just an experimental, but it's working. So there is parametrics in this BIMscript chair, and actually, it's actually my old office chair. You can even see it's seated down because this is actually scanned. So you can change the letter now. You can actually change the options. And there is nothing of this done in the game engine. Everything is read from the object. And this we do in the game. It means that this now is as intelligent as Revit, as ArchiCAD. And you know why? These technologies will be distributed freely. There is nothing that costs money when you build a configurator or you build something like that. So what about configurators? So you are that super creative whiz kid that want to build your kitchen and you can use any kind of configurators. There's a lot of configurators out there. They're like separated from our industry, and that's really weird. We think it's really weird. They're like connected to another silo. So when the construction companies, I saw Peab was here somewhere. Yeah, I don't just saw the Peab face. They say that the data actually in the process is flattened out 7 times. You know what? It's not correct. It's more than 50 times. Because every subcontractor that is actually doing anything and fabricating anything are doing their own model again, very often in the configurator. And the data that is constructed and done in the configurator is never turned in back into the BIM process. And this will be a problem. In the UK, we will hear Alex later on, there is a law. You have to have BIM level 2 mandate. So anything you do have to go and become COBie, and it have to be BIM. So this was another big problem for us. How are we going to solve this? How are we going to get the future configurators, which I tell you now will be based on game engines? They will not be based on 30-year-old CAD technology. This will be game engines. So Michael Tudell, you will also hear from him later. And he's a good guy, but I have a lot of arguments with him. So we were actually in the taxi in Tokyo after the inauguration of BIMobject Japan, and we had this big argument, probably jet lagged, and we were really discussing the collaboration with everything with IFC and everything what's done, and we were like bitching like dogs on each other, and then suddenly, bam, it hit me, we need to use blockchain. Blockchain is the key. If you can use blockchain technology to do cryptocurrency, you can use it in the construction industry. You can use it because it has all the things what we are lacking, all the things that we do. And the real key to our blockchain, what we are doing, is that we build all the content for you, all your components that is built with the BIMscript process, which we will hear Emil speak about later, and tomorrow you have a lot of workshops. It's building all the native files in a consistent way. All the metadata is taken from the server, all the logic is done in the right way. So we can actually use this to stream the content to any device we want, controlled by a blockchain. So this was a little bit Spotify and a little bit Japanese taxi ride in Tokyo. So what will it mean by putting in a blockchain? And what does BAM mean? BAM can mean anything. For me, it was a BAM in the head, and I got an ID, which I sometimes get. Building assembly model. So we're looking at assembly by assembly because, you know, we want to solve the problems for you. We want to look at things as parts of the model. We want to look at it as delivery models. Full bathrooms equipment, a full kitchen, a full this, full that. And the dream what Michael and I discussed was to get to this. We would like to have a no data loss connectivity and design intent, where you can have an iteration between different parties, sending 1 kilobyte files, but having native geometry and native components in every system you work with. And there should be no difference between if you're using an AR device in a Samsung phone or iPhone, or if you're using Revit. This is the way it has to work. And of course, nobody solved this. So we said, okay, then it's good, then let's try to do it. And listen, this was February. And this tells a little bit about BIMobject's innovative way of thinking. And today, I can show you how it works. So you can imagine how proud I am. All these guys that have normal shirts, not these shirts. These shirts are for business people. The other guys have normal shirts, and it says BIM and BAM on their back. These guys is the guys who made this a reality. So let's have a look how BAM will work in practice. So we start out in Revit. It's a little bit speeded up because, again, I can't do it in normal pace. We're placing some components. All these things are interior. We're going to focus in this example of an interior design concept. So we basically remove everything else, just highlight it. And these are the things we send to the blockchain. So this is the design, the interior design we want to share with other people in our organization, external people, and maybe the buyer. So actually what happens now is that it sends a transaction. You know, blockchain is a transactional method. It sends a transaction and it stores all the transformation matrices, metadata, and so on in the blockchain. We move to ArchiCAD, and we actually load the things from the blockchain. What happens now is a regeneration. This file in ArchiCAD is 100% native ArchiCAD objects. There's no data loss whatsoever. Can we do this in virtual reality? Yes, we can. Running on the Unity game engine, in this case in an HTC Vive, we load the blockchain in the apartment. And here you will actually see the regeneration, because here it looks a little bit different when we generate. So you will actually see how the contents is streaming from the server and coming in. And again, since we solved now the parametrics, this is also now parametric. So let's do this. Let's go into the bathroom and have a look. And maybe we do a change. So this is actually brutally innovative. We are now getting into the phase where you can work in virtual reality. You can work in a web configurator, and you're totally BIM enabled. You can do whatever you like. So now we move it because we didn't actually like it on the side. We want to have it on the front. And let's save it to the blockchain. So even if I'm a consumer now, or I'm a building owner, or I'm the developer, I can be part of the design iterations. And the change I've done, now we're reloading the blockchain and the BAM file into Revit again, closing the loop. And you see, shower is changed. Isn't that amazing? So with blockchain, we have to say goodbye to the drawings. Sorry, architects. Sorry, CAD people. If we don't get rid of the drawings, we will not digitize this industry. That's a fact. I know people will hate me from now on, especially the people who sell software that makes drawings, but we have to get rid of the drawings. And you know what? Blockchain is the key. Blockchain is the thing that will change our industry. The next 7 years, you will see all our development going into this blockchain technology to change it. And I will take this even further. So let's go to fabrication. So if we use blockchain and we use this kind of terminology, how could a design of a future look like? Let's say we want to design something. We have that brilliant, brilliant idea of a new product that will revolutionize the world. We get ourselves a hand of a mechanical CAD software, or we get a modern kind of 3D printing software like Autodesk Fusion 360, and we build that creation. We use prototyping to 3D print it in different scale models. We can also start up the fabrication process and do some testing. Then what we do is we build a BIM script collaboration. We build a BIM script component. We launch it on BIMobject to 1 million professional architects and designers. They can then configure it, they can use it because it has all the fabrication data inside. All the constraints, weights, package volume, everything is inside. Color, size, everything what you need, you can configure. And of course, through BIM supply, we can then pick it up and we can generate an order. We can actually even generate the files in the blockchain needed for fabrication. We can go straight to fabrication. And why is that? How can we do that now? We can do that now because factories are also digital. So this will be just like using a configurator, but you can go straight to the factory. Factories today, like this one, German, of course, are completely digital. They are driven by software, not by humans. The humans, you see, are looking at the process. They're just surveying it. And they have a big red button. If something happens, they will press it, but they're not controlling the factory. And you can see, this one is building kitchen units, kitchen cabinets. 3 people are doing it. It can work 24/7 and is controlled by software. These factories will read our blockchain. These factories will run by codes. The configuration codes, the actual properties, the values you put into the components, because they're all done the same. This is actually one of the kitchens, one of the tests. And this goes straight into BIM supply, all subcomponents available. And of course, BIM supply can separate and say, I will send the subcomponents in a separate order. I will send the faucets to the supply chain. I will send something, I would say, to Amazon, because it's a mixed bunch. But the cabinets, I'm going to send or actually collaborate with the factory, because we're moving into something called Industry 4.0. And this, my friends, will change your world again. Not for all of you. Some of you have quarries and making blocks. I think that will not be the real disruption here. But for many others, this will be a huge disruption. And looking at Industry 4.0 and looking at 3D printing. So I showed you now a digital factory which basically cuts, drills, and paints. But if you look at 3D printing, it's coming everywhere. And what will happen with that? That will also be taken in by the same process. The only difference is that the blockchain will not send an XML code or a little package of property sets in a string. It will actually give you whatever called LOD 1000, which is a very highly detailed production model that you can print. And of course, it will be used for small things at first, printing accessories, handles, knobs, but you can do it completely customized. And you know what? When you add that to our crowd, when you add that to 1 million professional designers, you're getting somewhere. You can share models, you can share design, you can share things together, and that is what will really drive a community. So, the last 7 years, we did this. We worked hard with you guys. We built your digital marketing plans, digital marketing activities. We did everything we could to build the biggest and best platform on the planet, taking care of languages, classification codes and standards, and building BIMscript into a very, very robust development engine to make it easier for you to get all the file formats you need and getting specified and getting into that digital decision process, what actually BIM and this means. What we're working on now, and it's actually run by the guy in the taxi in Tokyo, this is the digital building. You will hear a lot about our new platform, Hercules, which is basically like a private cloud. You can store buildings there, you can store assemblies, you can store your own content there, and you can also get whatever is in the product catalog and get it pre-specified in that cloud. Of course, we're going to run big data, AI on that. We're going to connect that to any kind of IoT devices and so on. So this is all creating the context that is needed for the design, basically scanning the world. We will not do all the scanning. People will scan themselves, and there's a lot of people with cameras in their mobile phones. Third step, this will be BIM supply. This is when we're taking the steps in actually what Ben will talk to very soon. He will talk about ecosystem. BIMobject is becoming an ecosystem. The different platforms are actually connecting itself together and building an ecosystem. BIM Supply will be our platform that connect to supply chain, to e-commerce applications. It will also connect, sorry guys, Amazon, Alibaba to our solutions. It will also connect to fabrications. There is today other platforms, like one is called 3D Hubs. 3D Hubs is like Uber for 3D printing. You send in your model, which we can do directly from our cloud, and it will find every 3D printing location close to you and retrieve the prices and the materials, and then you can just order 1 or 100. This is already happening. 3D Hubs, check it up. And that will be connected from our BIM Supply. But of course, you can also send this data directly to fabrication. So when you have it in BIM Supply, when you have the right content, you're doing the right things from the beginning with the right object. There is no such thing as symbolics anymore. No need for drawings anymore. There's no need for anything else than an intelligent model. And what we're really looking for is to get that unbroken information flow from A to B to Z. That's how we can disrupt and create that creative change. So let's look at the big picture. Where are we going? Wave number 1, repetition. Digitizing all components, all products, all building materials. Number 2, digital building. Putting things together, connecting the dots. We're giving you business matching. We're allowing you to put your salespeople into the catalog so the architects immediately can see who they're talking to or who they need to talk to. And we do that on a local basis. There will be even more of these things coming up with matching and etc. And of course, the buildings will go digital. And it's all prepared for any kind of scanning technology or these kind of models to go up in the connect phase. Phase number 3, we connect it all to the supply chain. Because unless we connect it to the fabrication, the e-commerce, the supply chain, and we can give more information, the value is actually lost. And the risk is that somebody's flattening out that file again or exporting it to Excel and starting their own little work outside of the platform. We need to keep it unbroken. By keeping it unbroken, we're going to get disruption in this industry. And you're welcome to continue with us the next 7 years because now it will happen. Thank you very much.